liberty. Gonna play our guitars and sing you a country song. We'll all be flying higher than a jetliner. And if you want a little bang in your yin yang, come along.
And welcome along to Indiana Sports Beat. Thanks a lot for taking us along wherever you're going, whatever you may be doing. Thanks a lot for taking Indiana Sports Beat along for the ride. Jim Coyle with you, as always, on this fine day. Justin Kalen high atop the Crew Chiefs box.
That's right.
Hope your day's off to a good start, and if not, we can get it kicked off to one. On the program today, Chronic Hoosiers joining us. Mike Schumann from the Daily Hoosier. Plenty to talk about, as always. Before we get to any of it, let's get to the headlines with Justin.
All right, here are your Daily Hoosier headlines for this 5th day of March 2019. New AP Top 25 is out. Gonzaga and Virginia stay number 1 and 2, followed by a big shakeup in North Carolina, Duke, and Tennessee. Big Ten Commissioner Jim Delaney announces that he plans to retire after his contract expires in the year 2020. And Indiana baseball's Matt Gorski takes home Big Ten Player of the Week from last week. Those are a look at your Daily Hoosier headlines on this 5th day of March 2019. For more information, make sure to check out thedailyhoosier.com.
And welcome back. Spring football's underway. Practice today. Yeah, they practiced today. I'm trying to remember the schedule. Indiana basketball off until Thursday, where they travel to Illinois to take on the Fighting Illini as they continue to try to pump life into their NCAA tournament hopes as they are on life support, but has a pulse. Has a pulse.
Indeed.
Lots going on the Indiana campus. The men's Big Ten, men's and women swim and dive teams. Your Big Ten champions this year, both sweeping that. Hadn't happened for quite some time, if ever. The men that's their 3rd straight. The women, their 6th ever. Baseball's on a roll. You just heard Justin talk about Matt Gorski, Player of the Week. It's a good way to start off.
Yeah.
Softball
Absolutely.
team, they're doing okay.
Just a little bit.
17-2, knocked off number 10 LSU. They'd already previously beaten another ranked team. I just read that yesterday. I forgot. Somebody number 6 or 8.
Was it Georgia?
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah.
So already beaten a couple of ranked teams. Got it going, man.
Looking good.
Got it going. And the AP top 25 polls out. Virginia played last night. They just spanked Syracuse, man. Gonzaga remains at number 1, extending the nation's longest winning streak to 20 games. Virginia is at number 2. They won big last night at Syracuse. I was watching that game a little bit.
You didn't have to watch it long to know what was going to happen. I had it on for a little bit myself.
No, not a lot. Tennessee was number 1 in the AP poll and number 1 seed in the NCAA Selection Committee's initial rankings before losing to then number 5 Kentucky and then LSU. So the Vols could be headed back to the number 1 line after beating Ole Miss and blowing out Kentucky in a rematch over the weekend. So that will knock Kentucky off the 1 line.
Yep. See you, Louisville.
I'd say Duke. What's that?
See you, Louisville.
Louisville. What are you talking about?
Kentucky's, that's their main thing. When they get to the tournament, they want to be in Louisville.
Oh, of course they do.
So that's pretty much out the window at this point, unless they go on and win the SEC tournament.
Central Florida had been on the NCAA tournament bubble, needing a big win, push over the tops. They got it Saturday, handing number 12 Houston its 2nd loss of the season. Ended the nation's longest home winning streak at 33 games. Kelvin Sampson's Houston Cougars. A little surprised they got beat by Central Florida.
Yeah. Central Florida's pretty big.
Yeah, they're ranked for the first time since the 2010 season. They reached number 19 during that time.
Nice.
Cougars dropped 4 spots to number 12 after reaching their highest ranking since the Phi Slamma Jamma days. back in 83, 84. They peaked at number 5. Number 15, Virginia Tech, had the biggest climb. They moved up 5 spots after knocking off Duke in its only game last week. Number 16, Marquette, had the biggest drop of the week. They lost 6 spots. Nevada fell 5 places to number 17, losing to Utah State. I bet Utah State stormed the floor. Defending national champion Villanova joined UCF as the only teams entering the poll this week. Man, they've been in and out, Villanova.
Yeah.
They started, they were a top 5 team, and then just kind of started dropping like a rock in water, and then they've been in and out of this thing.
You had to
They
figure
dropped
come
out
the
2
end.
weeks ago. Go ahead.
You had to figure come the end of the year that Villanova was going to be in the top 25. I mean, they're there every year.
You'd think. Washington dropped out for number 25 after losing to Cal, which had previously been winless in the Pac-12. Iowa went from number 22 to not receiving a vote following losses to Ohio State and Rutgers, and they should have lost to Indiana.
Yep.
So they should have lost 3 in a row. So there's your ins and outs of your top 25. On the text line, 812-269-6367, 812-269-6367. Thoughts, comments, questions, any of the guests today. Chronic Hoosiers on the show. Always look forward to his input. Mike Schumann from the Daily Hoosier joins us as well today. You heard Justin talk about the Big Ten Commissioner Jim Delaney plans to retire at the end of his contract. I think that's at the end of next season.
Yep.
Next year, 2020. He's been around for a minute.
Yeah. 89.
89 minutes?
No, well, 1989.
Not as good as 1999.
Whatever you say. I agree. I mean, I disagree. I think 89's the Supremo year myself. It's a good year.
He's 71 years old. He said in 2016 that he intended to step down in 2020 and likely would not be negotiating the league's next media rights agreement, which expires in 2023. He did a heck of a job, man. He's brought the Big Ten, the teams in the Big Ten make a lot of money.
Yep. No doubt about that.
Yeah, they make a lot of money. And a lot of that is because of the TV rights deals that was negotiated by Jim Delaney. The Big Ten has kind of been out in front of everything.
Yep.
The Big Ten Network, they were the first,
Yep.
and they are still the biggest. I mean, you see all these other teams wanting to jump on. ACC getting theirs going, the SEC getting theirs going, but the Big Ten is far and away the leader. That's why Maryland left the ACC to come join the Big Ten because of the money.
Makes sense.
It's a money maker, man. They were in financial problems. Maryland was having financial issues, and they joined the Big Ten just for that reason. It's a business now. And it's a shame because Maryland does not belong in the Big Ten. Let's just be honest. They belong in the ACC.
Agreed.
They should be playing Georgetown and Duke and North Carolina and those teams on the East Coast, not Nebraska, not Minnesota or Minnesota is the correct pronunciation. There are other teams that would have fit into the Big Ten better.
Such as?
Missouri.
Yeah.
Notre Dame. Notre Dame doesn't belong in the ACC.
They do for basketball.
But Notre
right?
Dame's issue is they don't belong in the ACC is my point.
Oh, okay.
They're more of a Big Ten
Yeah.
school. They're in Big Ten country. They played. They had previously already scheduled half the Big Ten in football, but they insisted on maintaining that independence in football as far as not joining the conference. ACC allowed them to do that. They just have they just play 5 ACC teams per year is their agreement.
That's
in
just,
football.
That's just so weird. They're not part of the ACC, but they have to listen to what the ACC regulations are. You have to play.
Well, they belong to them in all the other all the other sports besides football. They participate in the basketball tournament.
Yeah,
they're part of the ACC and everything else. I'm just saying, they're more of a Big Ten school.
I agree with that.
Hit us up on the text line this morning. Let us know what your thoughts are. Comments, 812-269-6367. Make sure you like or follow us on Facebook in case you don't catch us live, where you can find us each and every day from 6 to 8 on Big X Sports Radio, 1450 96.1 WXVW in Jeffersonville. You can also catch us each day from 11 o'clock on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. Always the right call. But you can find us on a replay at any time on Apple Play, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Play, thedailyhoosier.com, indianasportsbeat.com, and thegruelingtruth.net. And you can follow me at Twitter at JimCoyleISB.
Ubiquitous.
He's got it. He's on it.
On it.
IU football, spring ball is underway. Practice again today. Later on in the hour, we will hear from Archie Miller. Archie Radio was on last night. We also have some player sound, correct?
Correct. Justin Smith, the player guest last night.
The star of the week.
No doubt.
Reynolds Family Dentistry star of the game with that bright smile that you can get at Reynolds Family Dentistry. You know, they've served Hoosier families for over 30 years. The doctors Jay and Roger Reynolds take care of your family, just like they do me and Justin. Justin, you been there yet? Get that appointment yet?
Not officially. Drove by it.
Oh, it's time to make it official. It's time to make it official. Time to get you in.
Dennis scares me.
Oh, no,
I'm one of them people.
Not here. Great place to go. Great place to go.
Have to check it out.
Of course you have to. Hit us up on the text line, 812-269-6367. Let us know what your thoughts or comments are. Indiana now heading down to the wire in college basketball. Will they or will they not make the NCAA tournament this year? The NIT is, if they don't make that, is I think a definite this season, as opposed to last year where they did not play in anything. But obviously, the NIT is not where you want to be.
No.
Making the NCAA tournament is just big for the program, especially since the fact that they've missed it already 2 consecutive seasons.
Hard to
so
imagine.
Getting back to the tournament is pretty important.
Hard to imagine Indiana missing the tournament 3 straight years.
But a real possibility.
Yeah.
A very real possibility. Right now, there's no margin for error for this team. They have left themselves no margin for error.
It's true.
And they actually could have. They've definitely made it difficult on themselves. Definitely made it difficult on themselves by losing games they shouldn't have lost. By playing in the ways they shouldn't have played.
Tim,
but that's where we are.
Tim texting the show says, hate to be a football player today. 14 degrees. Hope they are inside.
Yeah, I'd say that they're in the Mellencamp Pavilion today, no doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's awfully brisk.
a little brisk in Bloomington, that's for sure. I'd say they're definitely in the Mellencamp practice pavilion today.
No doubt.
We got a lot coming up on the show today. Chronic Hoosiers joining us. Mike Schumann from the Daily Hoosier as well. Lots to talk about. Your comments and questions as well on the text line, 812-269-6367. We got plenty more to get to. We have missed on Fisher yesterday. We got that for you as well. Stay tuned. Indiana Sports Beat's back with more right after this.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat.
And I'm Justin Kalen with Indiana Sports Beat.
Justin, what's your favorite show?
It's got to be Indiana Sports Beat, but I'm not ever sure where to find it.
Well, you can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on Big X Sports Radio, 1450, 96.1 WXVW in Southern Indiana, and 97.7 The Ref in Evansville.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you can fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily lunch special. Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart opens at 5 a.m. and everything is made fresh daily. And if you bring your own mug, coffee is only 50 cents. And Billy Joe's also has free air. The best place to start your day is at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become one in a million.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, you want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs, Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want.
Today's guest is brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville with hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer. Pizza, burgers, beer. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville.
A big week for Indiana when you look back at Wisconsin finally winning in double overtime in that ball game. I kind of look back at everything at this point, back to the Minnesota ball game now, a little bit removed, but nevertheless about 2.5 weeks away. And I think that was the turning point of this season where this team really struggled in the sense of playing hard, giving effort, looking like they cared, that kind of thing. And as everyone knows, that game looked like Indiana had kind of mailed it in as the Minnesota Golden Gophers took a measure of IU in that particular contest. And honestly, I think when they came back home and went through the process and talked it out between the coaches and the players and kind of aired everything out, it's been a different basketball team ever since. They played both Purdue and Ohio State, Iowa and Purdue in 1 week and played both of them right down to the wire and couldn't find a way to win. But they had a new commitment, it seemed like, and without question, they played those two teams really tough. And then they've come back to this week, and they've won 2 straight ball games, or the past week, I should say. And of course, the win over Wisconsin was huge in double overtime. And then beating Michigan State on Saturday. This ball club looks like right now that they're playing like they were back in November and December, playing tough, finding a way to win ball games. And, of course, most of it's been done at the defensive end of the floor because this team still struggles to shoot the basketball. They only hit 38% of the ball game against Michigan State. They hit barely over 40% against Wisconsin and still found ways to win. So that, to me, is huge. So this rather interesting and bizarre season for this Indiana basketball team has taken another turn.
Yeah, not only that, they're getting production from people that you wouldn't necessarily expect to be at the top in the Michigan State game, of course, led by Justin Smith, 16 first-half points, 24 overall. So what a great day he had. And then, of course, right beside him, Devontae Green with 13 points on 3 of 5 3-point shooting. So those two guys really stepped up for the Hoosiers. It wasn't Romeo and the Jawan show as we've seen a lot this year.
No, that's right. I mean, they are getting contributions from other people. Race Thompson's another guy you could mention that even though he didn't play a lot in either one of those ball games, each time he's come into contest, or actually did kind of against Wisconsin, but when he's been asked to come into a ball game, and here's a kid that basically missed 3 months of the season, didn't get opportunities because of a concussion protocol that he was in, went through a really tough stretch back in November, December, January, kind of started coming around a little bit, finally got a chance to practice the last week or so in January for the first time, and then started contributing in February. And that Minnesota ball game was really his coming out party, the first time he really had an opportunity to play again. And, of course, the rest of the team that day played very poorly. He was kind of the bright spot with some rebounds in that ball game and a basket. And ever since then, he's found a way to work his way into the lineup, too. And if you look at what Archie's done here in the last 2 or 3 weeks, and he's done it really since he's come to Indiana, but he uses that bench. He uses the bench to let guys know you're not doing your job, you're not getting the job done. And he's had an issue in the sense of being able to utilize it the way he wants to because he hasn't had a full roster. He's had to play some guys that weren't playing their best basketball at times, too. So it all kind of has come to fruition here at the end of the season. It was a really bad stretch, as we all know. But this team right now looks like they're playing with confidence. They're playing with the ability to really shut down from a defensive standpoint. And it's a ball club that just looks different. It looks like the team we saw back in November, December. And if they play that way the rest of the year, they're going to give themselves a chance to still make the big show. There's that possibility. Of course, they're going to have to win out here at the end of the regular season, and they're probably going to have to win at least 2 ball games, maybe 3, in the Big Ten tournament to get past that bubble scenario. But this team has a lot of quality wins this year, and 2 over Michigan State kind of amplifies that.
Absolutely. They're a strange team, no doubt, with some big wins, but they are playing much better now and playing with confidence in their other teammates. I think is the biggest thing is when Romeo's not having a great day, when he's going for 14, he can have the confidence, and whether it's going to be Justin Smith or Devontae Green or Deron Davis for that matter, who knows, but knowing that somebody else can and will step up has got to be big for this team, for Juwan Morgan, knowing that they don't have to do everything.
Well, no question. And Juwan in the last 2 ball games has not been himself, at least from the standpoint of scoring a lot of points. He only had 9 in the ball game against Wisconsin, but he had 15 rebounds, a career high. And against Michigan State on Saturday, he had only 7 points, but again, he had 11 rebounds, 4 assists, only 1 turnover, 3 steals, and a couple of blocks. So this guy is able to do a lot of different things, and when he's not scoring the basketball, or when they're trying to keep him from scoring the basketball, he can contribute in other ways. And that's a big part of what this team now is doing again. They've gotten back to playing sound, fundamental basketball, and most of it has started at the defensive end. There's just no question about that. This team looks totally different defensively. They look like they are really trying, and Rob Phinisee has been a major factor in that regard because after coming back from his concussion, he hasn't been the same offensively, although he's gotten better last 2 or 3 ball games now. He's starting to, I think, feel more confident in his offensive game. But, man, he is a lockdown defensive player, and as a freshman, that is saying something.
Absolutely. And something else to go right along with that. They forced Michigan State into 14 turnovers, which is uncharacteristic of the Spartans, but Indiana only with 8 turnovers. So something they had struggled with all year long. They really get a grasp. And, again, I think that their defense coming back around certainly seems to help that.
Right. And the truth of the matter is Michigan State is a team that literally, if you go back and look at their statistics, they struggled with turnovers a good portion of the year. And when they go up against teams that really play hard at the defensive end, that's when they have their biggest issues. And, of course, Indiana was playing dramatically, that fierce effort that I've talked about. That's kind of phrasing that I came up with a couple of weeks ago. Playing at the defensive end with fierce effort and that kind of play, it really disrupts teams. And if Indiana continues to do that, they'll give themselves chances because, as we said before, this team is challenged offensively. They really kind of struggle to shoot the basketball, especially from outside. And now they're having some problems even inside a little bit. But, again, it's a ball club that at least is fighting at this point in the season and giving themselves opportunities. And finally, they broke through this past week with a couple of big wins, and now they give themselves an opportunity here this week to kind of close the regular season on a real high note if they can beat both Illinois on the road and Rutgers at home.
Yeah, Illinois, a place that had a little bit of trouble last year not being able to knock some free throws down, but Illinois is a team that, while they may be on the lower end of the Big Ten, there are no easy games. And Illinois has been fighting and scratching and bringing in good recruits. Coach Underwood is doing a good job building that program over there, and they're another team that you just simply cannot sleep on.
Well, they have won 7 Big Ten games. Indiana's won 6. What's that tell you? I mean, it's going to be a tough show when they play in Champaign and the State Farm Assembly Hall over there. This is going to be a real challenge for Indiana. They beat Illinois in the first game of the reboot of the Big Ten season back on January the 3rd, and they're going to have to play an outstanding game to beat this Illinois ball club because they are playing at their best here at the end of the season. They believe that they could make a run in this Big Ten tournament. They've got some real tools there in the sense of Frazier at the guard spot and the freshman guard. I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but he has played really well of late. And Georgi Bishashashvili is the other guy that has been a real factor for them this year, the guy inside. He gets himself in foul trouble now and then, but he is really tough to deal with inside. He's a shot blocker. He's a very good defensive player, and he really facilitates nicely the offense when they get the ball inside to him. So this is going to be a challenge for this Indiana basketball team, and then they close it out next Sunday with a game against Rutgers, a team that beat them at Rutgers earlier this year, and they have improved their ball club as well. They've got 7 Big Ten wins. So Indiana's got to win these last 2 ball games and if they're going to close out the season the way they want to, and to get themselves out of having to play on Wednesday. Right now, Indiana has 6 wins in Big Ten play, with Illinois and Rutgers, the 2 teams they play this week, ahead of them. So they've got to beat them both and then hope that somebody beats one or the other. In other words, Rutgers or Illinois needs to close out the season with a loss, 2 losses here at the final week of the season, for Indiana to work their way out of playing in the first round of the Big Ten tournament next Wednesday.
Absolutely. And tonight, Coach Archie Miller, Don Fisher at the Holiday Inn in Bloomington for the Coaches Show.
Yep, we'll have it at 7:05 tonight, one of our final 2 shows of the year. We'll have a show this week, and, of course, tonight we'll have a show next Monday night, which will end our Archie Miller Inside IU basketball shows for the rest of the year. But it's going to be a real interesting end of the season, and at least from an upside standpoint, this Indiana basketball team looks right now like they're playing the kind of basketball that Indiana fans want to see them play.
Absolutely. Look forward to Don Fisher. Thank you so much for joining us. Look forward to it. Look forward to tonight with Archie, and again Thursday on the call with the Illinois game. Thank you, Don.
You bet, Jim. Thanks for having me.
And that was Don Fisher joining us as he does each and every week. So shout out and huge thank you to Don Fisher for joining us to give us that insight on Indiana basketball. Always nice to talk to Don after an Indiana win. That's going to wrap up this segment. We will be back with more Indiana Sports Beat coming back right after this break.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
This is Jim Coyle with Indiana Sports Beat.
And I'm Justin Kalen with Indiana Sports Beat.
Justin, what's your favorite show?
It's got to be Indiana Sports Beat, but I'm not ever sure where to find it.
Well, you can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on Big X Sports Radio, 1450, 96.1 WXVW in Southern Indiana, and 97.7 The Ref in Evansville.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you could fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily lunch special. Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart opens at 5 a.m. and everything is made fresh daily. And if you bring your own mug, coffee is only 50 cents. And Billy Joe's also has free air. The best place to start your day is at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become one in a million.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
This hour is brought to you by Sweetland Waste and Removal Service, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995.
Yeah, baby. Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat. Hope you're having a great day. If not, I hope we can spark it up for you. Jim Coyle with you, as always. Thanks a lot for joining us and taking Indiana Sports Beat along for the ride, wherever you're going, whatever you may be doing. Justin Kalen, high top of Crew Chief's box.
That's right.
Coming to you from the Graduate Hotel in Bloomington.
Come on.
Poindexter. Having a little coffee. It's chilly. I made some chili yesterday. It's the best chili in the world.
You've always said that.
It's a fact.
You're quite the confident cook. You got the best chili in the world and the best tuna salad in the world.
No, I don't call it tuna salad. It's just tuna fish.
But it's okay.
It's the best. It is the best. Absolutely. I hope your day's off to a good start. Chronic Hoosiers on the program today. We'll talk to Mike Schumann and the Daily Hoosier. Get your comments or questions in if you'd like. Text line 812-269-6367. I know that there's a couple in right now I got to get to. I was talking earlier about Maryland not belonging in the Big Ten. Joker text in that the Big Ten needs to get rid of Rutgers and Maryland and add Notre Dame and U of L.
Ooh, I like it.
Well, U of L doesn't have the academic standing, I think, to stand up to Big Ten standards. And, you know, U of L people are going to go nuts. Oh, what are you talking about? Trust me, you don't have the academic standards. Big Ten schools are all pretty established academically.
Yeah.
Pretty good schools. I mean, no kidding aside. But that's one of the reasons why I think that U of L was not looked at.
Would make
that
sense.
And they don't. What's that?
It would make sense.
Well, the reason that, let me give you 2 reasons that Rutgers and Maryland were brought in. New York TV market, Washington, D.C. TV market. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the Big Ten wanted those TV markets.
Specifically New York.
Well, both.
Yeah. I mean, both are huge markets,
But
no
New
doubt
York,
about it.
But New York, obviously the biggest TV market in the country, in the world for that matter.
Right.
But that's what it was all about. That is what it was all about. But yeah, also, this was yesterday. If the announcement is open to the public, if he chooses IU, if the announcement is open to the public, he chooses IU. If it's closed, UK. That's a text yesterday in regards to Keon Brooks.
Well, good news, it's open.
Impending announcement on the 15th. It's what?
Good news, it's open.
Yeah, well, He's making it in Fort Wayne.
Yeah.
At his old middle school.
Does that mean
What
anything
do you
to
think?
you?
I mean, what are your thoughts? Hit us up on the text line. What are your thoughts, listeners? What do you think? Where's he going? Is he going to Kentucky? Is he going to Indiana? It's a 50-50 coin toss here. Talking about Keon Brooks and the impending announcement of his commitment. It's pretty much down to Indiana, Kentucky. Michigan State, they're not a player. They're simply not a player. This is a Kentucky-Indiana thing here.
Yeah.
It would be a pretty big loss for Indiana not to get Keon, especially losing to Kentucky.
Haven't lost a recruiting battle to Kentucky that I could think of since Trey Lyles.
Yep. But have they had one?
I don't believe they've had one.
I mean, you can consider Romeo Langford, but...
Yeah, Romeo was never going to go to Kentucky, though. And I think even Kentucky knew that.
They were part of the final whatever.
Yeah.
Well, we'll certainly find out on the 15th.
10 days.
I think he goes to Indiana.
If Keon Brooks...
Is he using the end of the season? Is he using the end of the season? The win over Michigan State helped. Is this end of season resurgence by Indiana helping?
It's a great question.
The thing is, I think that if anyone with basketball knowledge can see that this team was not that far away from being a pretty daggone good team, but it's the things that got them. A big part of it was a lack of talent and injuries. And I don't think that's going to hurt Indiana in the decision-making process of Keon Brooks.
Well, and I think it helps
Both of those are out of Archie's control.
I think it helps that Keon has seen his two buddies, Trace Jackson Davis and Armand Franklin. They haven't wavered. They're still locked in. They've come out on social media and said as such. So I think if he continues to see their confidence, that'll give him a confidence to want to go as well. But if they do not land Keon Brooks, that opens the door for Harlan Beverly, right? I mean, that's almost a sure thing if Keon Brooks doesn't commit, which they're different positions, so I don't know how much it matters anyways. Could still get both, but...
Glad you brought that up. I meant to. Harlan Beverly was in attendance over the weekend in Bloomington. He was at Simon Scott Assembly Hall while the Hoosiers knocked off Michigan State for the second time this season. 6'4" combo guard attending Montverde Academy. I think they get him regardless.
Yeah.
I think there's movement in the roster in the offseason. I think there's more than 3 spots available. And I think Harlan Beverly is going to fill that spot.
I like it.
I think they end up with a pretty daggone good recruiting class with Harlan Beverly, Armand Franklin, Trace Jackson Davis, and Keon Brooks.
Add that to the pieces you've already got, and sounds like a pretty solid team.
Well, Deron Davis is going to be a major part of that next season.
Yeah. Same with Al Durham.
Certainly hope. You certainly hope. Al Durham is struggling still this year, struggling with shooting. You kind of want to see him. It's his second season. He's getting substantial minutes both years. You really want to see him to make that step forward. It hasn't happened yet, but in this offseason, that's got to happen. These guys got to start stepping up for this team to start stepping up.
Right.
For this team to start elevating. My gosh, they've beaten some really, really good teams this season. But they've had no consistency. They've had no leadership. I don't think that's going to be a problem going forward. I think a lot of these guys coming in will want to lead. I promise you, Trace Jackson Davis, if nothing else, he seems like he was going to want to lead.
Well,
he's not afraid to talk.
And you give a guy like Rob Finney another year in this program, I think he's going to be a hell of a leader as well. Moving forward.
I think that may be accurate. I think he needs the confidence to do that, but you
his
certainly want
confidence is
your
growing.
Point guard. What's that?
I feel like he's got way more confidence now than when he went out with that concussion. He's almost, here as of late, Rob's almost looked like the player we saw way back at the beginning of the season.
Certainly coming back around.
Yeah.
But you'd certainly like to see your point guard leading your team. That would be
ideal.
Especially since he's going to have the ball in his hands a lot.
Right.
But certainly something that they have to rectify because they did not have it. There was no leadership on this team this year. Now, right now, I think that there may be leadership by committee. I think they finally came together, albeit at the end of the season, but I think they've come together to realize, hey, our heads are up our butts, not playing well, not doing this, not doing that. So, but but this can't be next year. They've got to there has to be a leader. And now, fortunately, they're going to have Deron Davis, as I mentioned. I promise you, Deron Davis is not shy. Deron Davis will not be afraid to speak his mind. I think Deron Davis will be a good leader on this team next year.
Yeah, you would think. I mean, guys like him and Devontae should theoretically both be great leaders next year, but who knows?
Well, you want him to be able to lead by example and vocally.
I think that shoe will fit a little easier for Deron than it will Devontae.
Make sure to like and follow us on Facebook. You can find the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Apple Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Play, dailyhoosier.com, live each day, indianasportsbeat.com, or thegruelingtruth.net. You can follow me on Twitter at JimCoyleISP. Hit us on the text line, 812-269-6367. Let us know what your thoughts, comments are.
That's exactly what Tim did. He asked, do you think Keon chose the 15th for his decision because after the 2 wins, he wants to see how IU plays out the season and maybe first Big Ten tournament game lets him see Archie can coach a team out of their bad play?
Yeah, I mean, I think that he's coaching them out of their bad play as they get healthier. I mean, it's been amazing how much better they played when they got healthy. When you have players, when you're able to run 11 guys into the game instead of 8. Go look at the statistics. Go look at the numbers for the Michigan State game. Indiana played 11 guys, I think. Michigan State 8. Those 3 extra guys Michigan State played, they got nothing from. Zip. Looks exactly like Indiana stat lines earlier when they were going through that horrible streak. That's exactly what it looked like. They had nobody to play, and the guys that came in were giving them nothing. You can't win like that. I don't care who you are. If you're Michigan State and Tom Izzo, you can't win that way.
But do you think
getting healthy makes it a lot easier to coach? I promise you.
But do you think that's why Keon is making his decision on the 15th, so he can get that extra 2 weeks of seeing this team and how they maybe come around?
I can't speak because I'm not in Keon's head. I would hope not. I would hope that by now that stuff's already no, because that way you're deciding on a couple of games.
Yeah.
Really, you're going to decide your future on a few games? No, you already have the information you need. Bill texted, and I think Keon showed his true colors a couple of weeks ago when he tweeted out a happy birthday wish to TJD, and it included a picture of him and Trace Jackson in Hoosier uniforms. I believe that was after his UK visit. Well, yeah, that's a good sign as well.
Yeah.
I think Indiana gets him. I think Indiana fans are going to be very happy next year, well, if they can ever be happy. But I think that they're going to end up with a hell of a recruiting class. I think they get Harlan Beverly, Armand Franklin, Trace Jackson, and Keon Brooks next year for a heck of a recruiting class.
The one thing
a back-to-back top 10 recruiting class.
The one thing that's always stuck out to me with Keon is the fact that if you go back to, what was it, the beginning of last year, maybe even 2 years ago, when he said there would be nothing like playing with a jersey that had Indiana across the front and repping his home state. That's the one quote from Keon Brooks that I always come back to when I think about where he's going to go to college, is that phrase right there. Because, I mean, when a guy wants to represent the state and wants to wear that Indiana across the chest, it's going to be hard to go elsewhere.
As long as he meant it.
Yeah. Which, I don't know why he would say it, not mean it.
I mean, people say stuff all the time, man,
I
when you're
know
getting
it.
interviewed. I got news for you.
I know it.
When you're being interviewed at Indiana, you're going to say pro-Indiana things. If he's being interviewed at North Carolina, he's going to say pro-North Carolina things.
Yeah.
Wherever. It's just natural. Wherever you are. Now, hopefully that's true. I believe it was true when he said it. Hopefully he still feels that way. But like I said, I think that Keon Brooks goes to Indiana. He's an instant impact player. He's someone that can make an instant impact and get playing time.
Guess we'll find out in about 10 days.
We certainly will.
Next Friday? Next Friday.
But is there a time? Was it noon?
No, I want to say 8 o'clock at night. Yeah, 8 p.m.
Well, we won't be covering that then.
The following Monday we will be.
Of course, I'll cover it, but Archie Miller was on the radio last night.
He was asked a lot of interesting questions, most of them having to do with how the team played last week and how they've been able to turn it around. One question, though, that he got, I was pretty interested in the answer. He had talked about the team and them picking up their intensity level. Somebody asked Archie about the coach's intensity level as well. I thought it was an interesting answer. So let's have a listen.
The past couple weeks?
I just think everybody's got a little heightened sense of awareness right now on, what we're trying to urge our guys to do during games and in practice. And it can't just come from one person, Sometimes the energy level of your assistant coaches changes the mood of a huddle. Sometimes it gets a guy on the bench to, pick it up a little bit, every once in a while. But I think there's no excuses being made, and whatever's being said from a coaching staff member, the guys on the team, they look at it right now and they say whatever he says, it's got to be what we need to do. And I think that kind of bought in approach is good. But our staff has done a good job. It's been a tough stretch, and it's not like they don't feel it as well. They're not going through it every day. And I think as a staff meetings and film sessions with whatever we're doing, the information, the input that we all gather and give it one another, we can all speak the same language to the players.
Thank you. Archie on Archie Radio last night. We'll hear from him a little more. In addition to Justin Smith.
Yeah, I want to play a Justin Smith clip. Pretty funny exchange. Don Fisher was asking him about, I'll just play it because it's a lot better that way.
Tom Izzo asked me to ask you, how did you start knocking down those shots?
Well, I work on my shooting every day after practice, and I hadn't really been shooting very well this season, and I felt like I was due to make a couple. And I guess I like playing against Michigan State, and so I was able to make a couple, and then I just kept shooting, and they were able to go down.
Yeah.
I got a kick out of that.
That's Todd Leary's fear that he's going to keep shooting, too.
Yeah.
Because three-point shooting is not his milieu, but it was on Saturday against Michigan State. It worked quite well. We'll see going forward if Indiana can kind of fit back into an offense that allows everybody to contribute, because that wasn't the case, especially in the first half against the Spartans on Saturday. It was the Justin Smith show.
How bad and out of control would that game have gotten if it wasn't for Smith in that first half?
You saw him play Minnesota on the road and lose by 20. You saw him get destroyed at home by Nebraska.
One of them.
Worse.
Heard.
Worse than that. because it would have not only taken away those valuable points, but the confidence that even though they weren't doing well as a team, they had somebody doing it, stepping up and keeping them there. And that gives them the confidence to continue fighting, to continue doing what you're doing. So to me, it was huge. I mean, it was the difference between winning and losing, without a doubt. No doubt. I mean, and I promise you, Tom Izzo was just pulling his hair out. Because of all people, he did not expect to get beat by Justin Smith, hitting 3-pointers. Because nobody expected that. Not anybody from Indiana. Because every time when he put his first 3-pointer up, I promise you, I heard a collective groan from the crowd. It was like, oh. It went in, and it was shock. But by the end of the game, he hoisted up another one. And there wasn't anything said, but he missed it big. But, hey, we got a lot to get to on the program today. Chronic Hoosiers with us. Mike Schumann from the Daily Hoosier as well. Lots to talk about. Get your questions in. The text line, 212-269-6367. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle is back with more right after this.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat.
And I'm Justin Kalen with Indiana Sports Beat.
Justin, what's your favorite show?
It's got to be Indiana Sports Beat, but I'm not ever sure where to find it.
Well, you can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for it each and every day. Or, of course, on Big X Sports Radio, 1450, 96.1 WXVW in Southern Indiana, and 97.7 The Ref in Evansville.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you could fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily lunch special. Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart opens at 5 a.m. and everything is made fresh daily. And if you bring your own mug, coffee is only 50 cents. And Billy Joe's also has free air. The best place to start your day is at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become 1 in a million.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be.
Well, we're coming to your city. Gonna play our guitars and sing you a country song. We'll all be flying higher than a jetliner. And if you want a little bang in your yin yang, come along.
Welcome along, Indiana Sports Beat. Jim Coyle with you as always. Thanks a lot for taking us along. Wherever you're going, whatever you may be doing, appreciate you taking us along for the ride. Justin Kalen, high atop the crew chief's box as always.
That's right.
your day's off to a good start. If not, hopefully we can get it there. We'll try to do that with Chronic Hoosier, who's on the program today. Always look forward to talking to Chronic. Mike Schumann from the Daily Hoosier will join us as well. Lots to talk about with Indiana basketball, Indiana athletics, the IHSA tournament's in full swing. We got a lot to get to before we do that. Let's get to the headlines with Justin.
All right, here are your Daily Hoosier headlines on this 5th day of March 2019. As the new AP Top 25 is out, Gonzaga and Virginia stay at number 1 and 2, but then followed by an upheaval of UNC, Duke, and Tennessee at 3, 4, 5. Big Ten Commissioner Jim Delaney announces his plans to retire after his contract expires in the 2020 season. And Indiana baseball's Matt Gorski takes home Big Ten Player of the Week. Those are a look at your Daily Hoosier headlines on this 5th day of March 2019. For more information, make sure to check out thedailyhoosier.com.
And thank you, sir. Just reading over a post that was put on Facebook by HickoryHusker.com. I'm not sure how accurate this is, but you know how Newcastle has always been listed as the largest gym in the state at over 9,000
in the country.
But it says that thanks to the diligent work of good basketball gentlemen, so-and-so, I'm not going to list their names because I don't know them, both of the Indiana High School Basketball Historical Society, the long-accepted list of largest gym seating capacities has had multiple alterations. Newcastle can still make a claim for finest, but their banner stating it's the largest needs an alteration, as in third. The listing now shows that Seymour is the biggest gym in the state, which would make it the biggest gym in the world. 8,228, 8,228. East Chicago, second, and the only other gym that seats over 8,000. Newcastle sitting at third right now with 7,800. So I'm not sure how they go from. That's a loss of 1,500 seats. But Seymour, East Chicago, Newcastle, Richmond, 77, almost 7,800. Marion, Elkhart, Michigan City, Gary, Westside, Lafayette, Jeff, Southport, all over 7,000. It's a lot.
Yeah. A high school gym with 7,000 seats plus is astronomical.
Well, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 that have over 7,000, 2 of which have over 8.
It's nuts.
So, if you're not from Indiana, which I doubt that you aren't and listening to this show, but if you have any doubts that Indiana high school basketball leads the nation, there you go. But yeah, it's always cool because Seymour, I grew up. Seymour hosted the regional every year when I was in high school, and they still do, but it was the one I got to go to. And let me tell you, that place packed is big.
Yeah.
A lot of people, man.
Yeah, I was there. I had went for my first time last year when Romeo and Floyd Central played there in the sectionals. And I was pretty blown away just how big it is and how many people it held and all that. Just the noise inside of it was crazy. Cool gym.
We'll certainly see. IHSA tournament's underway, man. Talked about that yesterday with Drew Davis. A lot of big names, big teams knocked out already. Kobe Barnes, Floyd Central, gone. Armand Franklin, Indianapolis Cathedral, gone. Christian Lander and Evansville Wright's gone. Valpo and Brandon Newen, gone. Warren Central, defending state champion, undefeated last year, gone. Who's going to be the champions this year? Who's going to win Mr. Basketball? I think that's a foregone conclusion, personally. I don't see how anybody beats Trace Jackson Davis for that. Just my thoughts. Hit us up on the text line. Questions, comments. May have questions or comments for our guest today, Chronic Hoosier and Mike Schumann. That number is 812-269-6367.
Did you hear the news on Christian Lander?
I did not. I don't know.
Got invited to
What is the
USA
news on
basketball
Christian?
minicamp.
Yes, I did see that, but I'm glad you brought that up.
Pretty cool for him.
Yeah, that's a big deal, man. That's a big deal. Kid's a sophomore. He's going to be a high-profile recruit. He's already been offered by everybody under the sun. Every major team is going to have an offer into him. He's got 2 more years of high school to play after this season.
Yep.
He's going to be involved in the national basketball on the USA level. He's a national recruit.
Didn't Keon and Trace play on that team last year, on the USA team? I could be wrong, but I want to say they were both on the team as well.
And he usually produces that kind of talent year in, year out. You see Virginia last night just destroying Syracuse
with Indiana
behind
talent.
the Kyle Guy. What's that?
With Indiana talent.
Yep, absolutely. Michigan State, Aaron Henry. You know, the other night when Michigan State was here at Simon Scott Assembly Hall, Aaron Henry from Ben Davis High School, another great talent that got away. That's the difference, man. Let me tell you. If you can keep that talent in state, it's going to make a difference. I mean, this is no offense, but this is not Kentucky. Kentucky has to go outside of the state and recruit. Kentucky does not produce that kind of talent, high school talent. They have to go outside of the state and recruit. Indiana does not. If they could get the talent from within state, they can get back to getting that instantly back on the national stage on a collegiate level. That's why these teams do that. That's why Virginia comes in here. That's why Michigan State comes in here, and Kentucky and Louisville and Ohio State and on and on and on, and Michigan and on and on and on.
Shoot, at this point, this is basically
because the talent is abundance.
Indiana's basically home for Michigan State at this point.
Oh, there's always somebody on there.
Yeah. Always.
But at the same time, there's enough. There's more than enough. There's more than. I mean, year in, year out, look at how many players will leave Indiana or from Indiana play Division I talent. That's a large number,
right?
Especially if you compare it per capita to other places. It's unusually high.
Hey, Tim texted into this show. Good memory there, Tim. He says Indiana beat out Kentucky for Blackman Jr. So, yeah, that would have been the last one. Forgot about that one.
Yeah, there's that one. I think that Indiana wins out again. I think the reason that Michigan State's not a player is because they decided not to be.
Yeah.
They're like, we're not getting into this bidding war stuff. Not bidding war.
I was about to say, easy with those words there, Jim. Bidding war.
Well, you know what I meant.
Yeah, I know. I got you.
Recruiting war.
But with all that's going on in college basketball right now, you can't say bidding war.
Well, they just don't want to get involved. There's like, all right. Tom Izzo's to the point like, hey, you want to play here? Great.
Yeah.
If not, that's fine too, because I'll get somebody else. And he will.
He will.
I mean, that recruitment is already was kind of funny. I mean, Michigan State cancels a visit, then the other party cancels a visit, which when the second cancellation came, I was like, oh, I didn't know they were still in the picture.
Yeah.
After you cancel a visit, you kind of think that has gone by the wayside. Indiana takes on Illinois on Thursday in their second to last regular season game, a game that they desperately have to win. There's no doubt. Every game is a must-win for them here on out. If they have any thoughts of making the NCAA tournament, there's no margin for error. You cannot lose to an Illinois, and you cannot lose to Rutgers. Period. You can't lose to anybody right now.
No.
Not if you're going to lean on the fact of beating a team like Michigan State. You can't turn around and lose to a team like Illinois or Rutgers.
That's how it's been all year, though, right?
It has been, but that's caught up with them.
Yeah.
That's why they have no margin for error. And I mean no margin for error. You just got to win.
Heading to Illinois with a mindset of no margin for error is not ideal because Illinois defensively is one of the best in the league. But then again,
this team is still immature and they're still learning. But they've shown that they can finish, they can win, they can do that against good teams. But can they do it consistently? Well, we'll find out because they have to. I mean, they have to, or their season is effectively over.
Yep.
And some of these guys' collegiate careers is effectively over, i.e. Romeo, Juwan Morgan. Specifically. Those guys are playing for the rest of this is their collegiate career right here. This is Romeo's season. This is his one and only season. He definitely wants to play in the NCAA.
Yeah.
Hopefully they can get it done and achieve that. But we'll see.
What a shame it would be. What a
win.
shame it would be for Romeo to go to Indiana for 1 year and have to play in the NIT. That'd just be such a bummer for him.
Well, all you got to do is win.
Yeah. He's trying.
Well, I'd say they're all trying now. That's the problem. That was the issue. That effort has not been there all season.
Right.
And hence the reason that they are where they are. But that aside, you just got to – it is what it is right now, and they are where they are. So you just have to go forward with what you got.
Yeah.
And you have a chance. And all you have to do is – it's not like you're being asked to go beat Michigan. It's not like you're being asked to go beat Purdue at Purdue. No, there are no easy games in the Big Ten. I get it. But, hey, if it was easy, everybody would do it. Go win.
Yeah.
Go show that you're better than they are. Go show that you deserve to be in the NCAA tournament. Just go win. That's all you got to do.
And they certainly have one of the best schedules left to do that. So we'll see if they take advantage.
I think it's going to come down to what they can do in the tournament.
Yep.
And that second game that they would have to play if they can get past the first one. Because I don't think that they went out, that they still could end up having to play on the Wednesday.
Yep.
That's the thing. They still, even if they win out, they need help. Somebody has to win. But I don't know that it's a bad thing if they have to play on Wednesday personally.
Right.
Because I think they get to play an extra game, to me, against an easier opponent.
Will go a long way.
I think that I think it's an advantage to them to play on Wednesday this year. Because, who they'd be playing instantly, they're playing one of the other low-level seeds. And then the next game you play still a lower seed because of the double bye for the top teams.
Yeah.
That would put them at 19 wins. I think that gets them in right there.
Same.
Just my opinion. That's what I think. We got a lot coming up on the show today. Chronic Hoosiers up next. Mike Schumann from the Daily Hoosier follows that. But stay tuned. Indiana Sports Beat coming right back right after this.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
This is Jim Coyle with Indiana Sports Beat.
And I'm Justin Kalen with Indiana Sports Beat.
Justin, what's your favorite show?
It's got to be Indiana Sports Beat, but I'm not ever sure where to find it.
Well, you can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on Big X Sports Radio, 1450, 96.1 WXVW in Southern Indiana, and 97.7 The Ref in Evansville.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you could fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily lunch special. Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart opens at 5 a.m. and everything is made fresh daily. And if you bring your own mug, coffee is only 50 cents. And Billy Joe's also has free air. The best place to start your day is at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family.
20 seconds.
For future generations. For all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become one in a million.
All right, crew, let's get her done.
Today's guest is brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg. You need $1 million smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you'll get with Reynolds Family Dentistry.
And welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat. Thanks a lot for taking us along wherever you're going, whatever you may be doing. Thanks a lot for taking us along for the ride. Jim Coyle with you, as always. And joined by one of our all-time favorites, Chronic Hoosier. Chronic, how are you, sir?
I am doing outstanding. Just woke up in a house that's featuring my old roommates from probably 15 years ago. Came up, had an opportunity to have some my brother and a good friend of ours over last night with their kids and their dogs. So there may be some background noise, but we are awake and remembering what it was like in the early aughts here in this little corner of Bloomington.
Awesome. It's always great to relive some old-time memories, especially in Bloomington. Speaking of good memories in Bloomington, Indiana, let's put another one on the board Saturday with a big win over Michigan State to sweep the Spartans this year. To add to the drama this season of this team, man, they have certainly made it exciting, Chronic.
I'll tell you what, if there is a team that just continues on a regular basis to do the most improbable things, good, bad, and in between, I beg you to find another one.
Yeah, and this team is now. I talked about they have to win out. They have to beat Illinois on Thursday, of course. They have to beat Rutgers when they play them back home at the Simon Scott Assembly Hall, and then they still need help getting out of playing on the first day in the Big Ten tournament. But personally, I think that's an advantage if they actually play on the first day because it just gives them another opportunity to put another win in the win column. And 2 wins in the Big Ten tournament would put them at 19 wins and solidify getting into the tournament this year.
No, that's the crazy predicament. Most teams never, ever want to find themselves in a position playing on Wednesday in the tournament. But for Indiana right now, no matter who you play, no matter how this thing shakes out at the end, you're looking at a top 100 win, regardless if you can take the first game, even if it's a play-in round. And where Indiana's at right now, just the sheer math of it, they certainly need wins. They need more victories. They need more top 100 wins. Obviously, you've got a team sitting on 6 quad 1 wins right now with this confounding resume. I think every pundit in the country is kind of at a loss right now to understand Indiana, to figure out exactly, where they shake out when the selection committee puts everything in ink. You're not wrong though. They need to get more wins, as many wins as possible at this point. Ideally, you would rather not find yourself in that situation, at least where you're having to play on Wednesday. My only concern right now is where these guys' legs are going to be. You see it often, teams that really have to kind of give everything late in the season to get in. We've seen it with Indiana before as well, where they just come in gassed. You don't necessarily want to have to play 2, 3, 4, even potentially up to 5 games in a row. But in Indiana's case, it's something that they simply need as many games on the ledger as possible with some more W's behind them. So most analysts, I think, are pretty much of the opinion that they got to win out first and foremost. They absolutely have to win out, otherwise everything becomes a moot point. The Illinois game on the road, you never thought the season would hinge on that in Rutgers, but this is where the Hoosiers are right now. So as much as people want to debate how many games into the tournament they have to go, in the Big Ten tournament they have to go in order to solidify that, at this point right now, let's just focus on Illinois. If that shakes out, focus on Rutgers when they get home, and just see where exactly the tournament season pans out and who's in front of Indiana. Because at this point, just keep winning. That's all they got to do, just win. It bonkers still, too, that you find themselves in a position where there's not necessarily a guarantee. I think at this point we're safe to say that, under the new rules, that an NIT berth would be guaranteed, but that's literally how close the Hoosiers are. Could be NIT, could be NCAA tournament. It could be they find themselves sitting at home the entire remainder of the month if they don't finish out their business here in the final 2 games remaining, and try to get at least a couple under the belt come Big Ten tournament time in Chicago.
Yeah, and this team has been so unusual this year that I think that again, anything that's normal is kind of out the window, and I think maybe this team will be better playing multiple games. Normally, I agree with you. Like, man, they're going to be worn out. But I think that this team had lost itself during that middle of the season where they went through that horrible slide. But they seem to be finding themselves, and I think maybe they're better off playing more than playing less right now, because it's kind of like riding a high.
No, in question. I think you've got a team right now that's really rounding into itself. It's began to find its identity, that understands exactly what it's going to take to win. Albeit late, it's probably better than not having shown up. So I'm here for it. I think there was certainly a switch that flipped sometime between the Minnesota and the Purdue game. Maybe you can go back and look at the Iowa and the Ohio State game that preceded, out on the heels of Michigan State. And I'm not exactly sure what it took. I'm not exactly sure why it took that long to get there, but it clearly seems that Archie's got their attention, that they're playing in a fashion that he's wanted throughout the season. You see a team that I certainly thought that against Michigan State, we were going to see a repeat of perhaps some past performances. They get down by around 10 points and struggle to maintain contact throughout. And once again, they just flipped the script on us, and they kind of actualized what it was, the things they have to do to make this team competitive. And it's usually going to turn in or hinge on turning games into rock fights. They did on the defensive end. They did it by getting out in transition, getting some easy buckets. And they did it with relatively few substitutions involved. I know Izzo was pretty adamant that Indiana kept throwing bodies at his team, but when you look at it, you got 2 teams that effectively ran 2 7-man rotations. Indiana brought in McRoberts and Race for a total of 4 minutes, but you take those guys out, and otherwise it was 7v7, which kind of, I think, in this instance indicates a team that knows who they are, that knows what they have to do, and is starting to get a sense of who's going to do it and what combinations. And clearly Archie was confident with running that. Tremendous performance from Indiana, but again, one of the most confounding seasons and games, I guess, within the season that I can remember, perhaps ever.
And ironically, the arguably their two biggest wins of the season, both coming against Michigan State, but both coming without their superstars leading the way. Obviously, neither Romeo nor Juwan led the way in the last recent game here. Obviously, Justin Smith has the game of his career, but the last up in East Lansing, Juwan Morgan goes down, and the team kind of rallied around that. So it's ironic that their two biggest wins of the year come with the supporting cast of which we've been looking for all season stepping up. If they can get that the rest of the way, they can get something done.
No, and I think that just shows how fine the line has been between Indiana's success and failure. I mean, I can't remember how many times throughout the year we've looked at a particular result and said, if there was one other person available, if only there was somebody else that could contribute, that could share the load with Romeo and Juwan. Obviously, Justin Smith had a tremendous game. I don't know that you can understate just how important Devontae Green was in that win. You look at Rob Fennessy's defense over the final quarter of the game. It's just absolutely improbable, but it also kind of, I think, for a lot of that's my knee. For a lot of fans, just recognizing how good this team can be when one, maybe a couple other guys beyond the big three step up and just turn the tables for Indiana.
It would certainly make a difference, and I think that's the difference that people don't understand between this team and the teams that are in the top 10, the top 15. They're getting production night in, night out from three guys, and sometimes a fourth and sometimes a fifth. That's what this team has been lacking. You've had Romeo and Juwan, but then when they haven't been there, it's somebody else that stepped up, but it's never all of them at once. And that's the difference between this team struggling, having their struggles, and being a really good top 10 team. Because if these guys could play together and that they could produce together, they would be almost unstoppable.
No, absolutely. And, I think what stands out the most, especially here as we go through the back half of the conference schedule, is also recognizing how well this team can defend when it plays connected defense. It's clearly what Archie's emphasized since he came here. He's told us throughout the season the offense has been behind, not necessarily by design, but certainly as a product of what the coaching staff has been emphasizing, and that's this team's ability to defend, this team's ability to rebound, and how those particular attributes are going to keep them in the game, no matter where the offense is on a given night. And I think what we're seeing now is this team kind of actualizing who they are, how it's going to have to happen if they're going to have a chance to find themselves, in these tight contests against teams that perhaps outmatch them. It's fair to say, Michigan State certainly was missing some bodies on there. Izzo made a point that everyone was aware of that in the press conference. But no differently than when you look at the game at East Lansing. It took a horrendous free throw shooting night for Michigan State in order for Indiana to be able to achieve that win. At the end of the day, though, too, sometimes you have to make your own luck. And whether it's a foul situation, whether it's, a guy who's generally a far better shooter or free throw shooter than what he happens to be on that night, you make the guy work for it. You make him work from whistle to whistle. You make these opponents have to earn it from you. And this was this kind of a trait of Indiana in December that I think most folks were kind of relying on carrying over. But this team's ability to keep things tight, get themselves in a position in the final, in the final portion of the game to at least have a chance. And you're finding an Indiana team that's kind of found itself once again as far as its ability to put itself in that position, no matter what's happened throughout the game, no matter where the shots are. If they play good defense, if they go out and get the loose balls and rebound, give themselves a chance. And obviously took a career game from Justin Smith in order to even be competitive at the end. But I think it gives you hope for what the future could look like with just a couple of additional of attributes or of features besides just Romeo and Juwan. I'll say this though, I don't know that anybody in the conference wants to play these guys right now because clearly you could tell Izzo was a little peeved that Devontae Smith came in and just went completely off. Izzo was a little peeved that Justin Smith, who a guy had made 4 3-pointers throughout the season, goes and has a 3-for-6 night against him. It makes them incredibly difficult to guard against, though, and incredibly difficult to scheme against. You know what Romeo's going to do. You know what Jawan's going to do. But you add in the additional contributor, whether it be from three-point or Justin Smith, just versatile all over the floor that night. It's really tough to play these guys when they play connected like they did against Michigan State.
Yeah, and that's like I said, that's what they had been missing because the teams had gotten used to that and had adjusted to Indiana only having limited weapons. So the minute they have that extra weapon, it's like, oh, what's going on here? We're not prepared for this. And it doesn't matter who it is or how good they are or how good a team it is. You've seen that if Indiana can do that, they're trouble for anybody. But they've got to bring the effort night in, night out. And how worried are you that this effort continues on the road at Illinois Thursday?
I'm terrified by it, to be perfectly honest with you, just because Hope is given I'd say a second chance. I mean, this is one where we were talking just a week or so ago, and I wanted to slap anybody before that, allow them to finish a sentence about Indiana's tournament chances. But here they are. They've got some strong wins on the resume. Obviously, there's math, just the sheer volume of the wins versus losses. And then you're going on the road, which is never easy in this conference. I don't care where you're playing this year. It could be Illinois. It could be Rutgers. There are no givens. There are no guaranteed wins left. And then on top of that, you're going to play a team that's just going to be a frenetic defense. They're going to throw everything they have at you. They're going to make you earn every single foot of advancing the ball up the court with everything on the line. And for a young team, it's just kind of a culmination of a lot of things that I think should give people pause as far as their anticipation for postseason chances. And literally, you cannot look past this. You cannot look past Rutgers once you survive this next game. This is one of those where it's going to put a lot of strain on a young backcourt. It's going to be a game that I think Indiana is going to have to play. We've talked about having to play harder, having to play tougher. This is going to be a game where Indiana is going to have to play hard and smart, because if you're not careful with the ball against Illinois' defense, you're going to implode on yourselves. And again, it's been a stretch where this team has had to give. You got a few guys who have had to play a lot of minutes. I know there's people always debate, these are young guys, 20-something years old. Their legs are fine. We've also seen a number of teams over the years where the legs kind of go a little bit flat at this point in the season. So not only are you going to have to be smart with the ball, but they're going to have to find a way to get some shots to go down. That's one thing I think about Indiana shooting ebbs and flows, is finding a way to sustain some success they've had from outside, finding a way to sustain their ability to get the ball inside and play inside out. I think that was probably one of the tipping points in the Michigan State game, was their ability to get the offense started early in the shot clock by getting it into the post, by allowing for that spacing to be created whenever the ball drops down low. But against Illinois, you got to get across timeline first before you even get into those sets, and they're going to do everything they can to kind of float through them.
They sure are, because it's a tough squad.
It's not particularly excited about it, but it's going to be a test. And again, though, it presents another opportunity for a top 100 win on the road, which the selection committee is going to want to see here before Indiana truly deserves consideration for the tournament.
Like I said, they need to earn it. They have to prove it. So we'll certainly find out Thursday night. Chronic, thank you so much for joining us, man. We appreciate it. We'll look forward to it, and we'll find out how it goes Thursday.
Outstanding. You guys have a good one. We'll talk to you next week.
You as well. Chronic Hoosier joining us as always. Appreciate that. Joined us, brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry, serving Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Jay and Roger Reynolds take care of your family, as they have done so for the last 30-plus years. Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg. We've got lots more coming up here on the program. Mike Schumann from the Daily Hoosier joins us next. Stay tuned. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle back with more right after this.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs, Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Well, I'm going to test it out.
Today's guest is brought to you by
Many
Bubba's
medicines
34
used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat.
And I'm Justin Kalen with Indiana Sports Beat.
Justin, what's your favorite show?
It's got to be Indiana Sports Beat, but I'm not ever sure where to find it.
Well, you can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for it each and every day. Or, of course, on Big X Sports Radio, 1450, 96.1 WXVW in Southern Indiana, and 97.7 The Ref in Evansville.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you could fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily lunch special. Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart opens at 5 a.m. and everything is made fresh daily. And if you bring your own mug, coffee is only 50 cents. And Billy Joe's also has free air. The best place to start your day is at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become one in a million.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
Today's guest is brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. With hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and
Welcome
ice-cold
back to
beer.
Indiana Sports
Pizza,
Beat. Thanks
burgers,
a lot for joining
beer.
us.
Bubba's
Jim
33
Coyle
in
with you as
Clarksville.
always. Justin Kalen still high atop the crew chief box.
That's right.
Joined now by our good friend Mike Schumann from the Daily Hoosier. Michael, how are you today, sir?
Doing great, Jim. How are you this morning?
Just enjoying the lovely weather. It's a little cold outside, but the sun is shining, and it's always a good thing, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know if it's March or January, but I guess we're getting there.
It's kind of hard to tell. March arrives and the temperatures plummet, but that's Indiana weather for you. But it's kind of how Indiana's basketball season has gone, up and down, man, with some extremes. You talk about some extreme losses on the road to Minnesota, at home to Nebraska. Then you go on the road and beat a team like Michigan State, and you follow that up with another win against Michigan State at home. What an up and down season this team has had.
Yeah, I can't even begin to comprehend or figure it out. I mean, the only thing I can say is if you like patterns, the season started with 12 of 14 wins and then went to 12 of 13 losses. So, winning a couple in a row here, maybe we're hitting the home stretch at just the right time. There's not a lot of margin for error at this point, but the way they're playing, I do at least feel like they can beat anybody on the schedule right now. They can just as well lose those games, but they're competing. They give me the sense that they're gonna come out and give everybody that they play a really good fight. But the downside, as you know, is that the Big Ten is so loaded right now that even at the bottom of the Big Ten, like they're gonna see this week, it doesn't matter. I mean, those teams, Illinois and Rutgers, are competing as hard as anyone in the league, and I don't know about you, I've never seen anything like this in any conference at any time. There's always a couple cupcakes in the schedule, and I don't feel great about Illinois or Rutgers. I mean, they're both giving everybody a dogfight, whether they're at home or on the road, and if Indiana's going to finish out the regular season with 2 more wins, they're going to earn it.
Absolutely. And I'm not, and I shouldn't say this because it's going to sound absolutely stupid, but I'm not concerned with Indiana against Rutgers at home. If they don't win that game, they don't deserve to be talked about, period. But the game going on the road to Illinois, that one should offer some concern for people. Because Illinois, again, is not going to lay down for anybody. They play a very, very different brand of defense that is an in-your-face style that does not offer up for much margin for error on top of the fact that you don't have any anyway. That game came down to free throws last year for Indiana, and they couldn't get that done. And Illinois is a team that's hungry. They're hungry. They've won more games than Indiana has in the Big Ten. I mean, there are no easy games, like you've said, and we know that because this conference is crazy good this year. But this team has been one that we don't know what we're going to get. And I think, to me, the biggest issue, and I talked about this with Chronic Hoosier earlier, is arguably their 2 biggest wins this season are obviously over Michigan State both times. And in both of those games, their superstars were not the ones leading the way. And really, if you go back and look, how many games did everybody play well together? How many games did Juwan, Morgan, Romeo, and a third party all play well for Indiana this season? I don't, as a matter of fact, in the games that they have been led by either Romeo or Juwan, they're not really getting much from anybody else in the supporting cast. And I don't know why, but it doesn't seem like this particular group can play well together at the same time with any kind of consistency at all when it comes back offensively, at least.
Yeah, I think that's a great observation. And when I rewatched the Michigan State game over the weekend, the thing that jumped out to me is that this game played out almost exactly like the Louisville and Butler games, and as a team, they just kind of looked like that team again, which in and of itself isn't necessarily revolutionary. That team was still one that we were a little bit nervous about and scratching our heads about, but at least they fought through to the end, executed it late in games, and came out with wins. But but by the same token, it's just a consistency question. If you're going to keep having games where you're, I think all 4 of their last 4 games were down to a 2-point margin at the end of regulation. So it's very hit or miss, and you go on the road to a team like Illinois that's trying to turn you over. And you're going to run into that same sort of thing. I can't imagine that they're going to, run away with a game like that at Illinois. But to your other point there, I mean, I think what we've seen in the Big Ten is that teams want to take away Morgan and Langford, which is obvious, right? I mean, any coach with an ounce of sense, that's what they're going to do. And this whole pack-it-in approach that they're using accomplishes both things. If Morgan touches the ball in the paint, it's an automatic double. You sag off of Smith and others on the perimeter to block driving lanes for Langford. It all works, and that necessitates what you said. Somebody else, a Smith, a Green, a Davis, somebody else has to beat you. And in the games where they have, especially those Michigan State games, they've shown that they're a very good team and that they're very hard to beat when other people are making the opponent pay for that pack-it-in approach. and I think it's going to continue to be that way. Although, as you said, Illinois is a whole different animal. The one thing that gives me comfort about Illinois is, I think the first time we played them, I don't even think, somebody can check me on this, I don't even think Fennessy played. And, so it was all in Green's hands. But to this time have a fully healthy Fennessy, he looks great now, and a fully healthy Green, two good ball handlers, or at least two respectable ball handlers against that sort of pressure gives me a lot of confidence. I don't feel like we're going to, have a crazy 22 turnover game. You never know on the road what might happen. But I go into that game at least thinking, it's not going to be a turnover fest. It might just come down to composure.
Well, it's absolutely critical. Well, it's not, because in the win against Michigan State, they had a season low 8 turnovers while forcing Michigan State into 14. But they needed each and every one of those possessions, because if you look at their field goal shooting percentage, they shot like 38%. It was horrible compared to 50-something percent for Michigan State. If you can't do that if you're turning the ball over. If you're going to turn the ball over, you've got to hit at a very high percentage, which they were doing at the beginning of the year when they were hitting 50% from the field. But now when you're hitting 40%, which they have done for the last couple of games, you definitely can't turn the ball over, which they didn't against Michigan State, but that's a key to winning that game. And Illinois is a team that definitely is going to be trying to turn them over. So each possession is critical for them to take care of the ball.
Yeah, and I think that what you typically see with a team like Illinois is your turnovers go up, but so does your field goal percentage, because when you break their pressure, you end up with layups and open looks. So, it might be the case where they do have 16 turnovers, but they finally crack that 50% from the field that they've been missing out on here lately. But, I was just looking back at the last box score, and they only committed 14 turnovers in the first meeting against Illinois without Fennessy. So, they've at least shown in that meeting. Now, Illinois is playing a lot better since then. I think they've got some young guys that have really kind of found their way, including Dosunmu and Frazier. But, I think they, only having 14 without Fennessy, I think is notable. And I think if they can keep it at that kind of 15 or less, they're going to end up in really good shape in that game.
And Illinois is looking at this as a chance to get a nice win for them. And they don't have any aspirations of playing in the NCAA tournament this year, obviously, but this would be just a huge win for them. Anytime you can get a win over an Indiana team, a team that is fighting for the NCAA tournament, they could be the spoiler, because Indiana has no margin for error. They cannot lose a single game. They cannot lose this game to Illinois and make the NCAA tournament, in my mind.
Yeah, and if I'm Illinois sitting there, I'm thinking, we can stay out of Wednesday for the Big Ten tournament. We've shown that we can play with anybody in this league. They beat Michigan State too, so they're thinking, we've been playing well lately. Why can't we make a run in the Big Ten tournament? One of the very first Big Ten tournaments I remember watching, it was an Illinois team that was just awful. Maybe won 1 or 2 games in the league the entire season, and they made a run to the championship game. So anything can happen in that tournament, and I would be more than comfortable saying they are a good sneaky pick to make a run in the Big Ten tournament. So everybody still have something to play for. I mean, I don't know how much you like the Big Ten tournament. I'm not a huge fan of it because it just seems like it places too much emphasis on a weekend rather than the entire season. But at the same time, if you're a team like Illinois, you still have everything in the world to play for.
Absolutely, because it's the only thing teams like that have to play for, because their season has not gone very well. They haven't won a ton of games, especially in the Big Ten tournament or in the Big Ten Conference. They're one of the worst teams, but in a very, very good conference. So this is all that they have to play for. This is also a way to play for recruits for Illinois, because they've been doing a decent job recruiting. They got a 5-star coming in next year. Same with Indiana. I think it was a great performance for them to have against Michigan State with Harlan Beverly in attendance Saturday at Simon Scott Assembly Hall. I think that went a long way in landing him next year. I think that's someone that Indiana gets. And then, of course, you talk about recruiting. Keon Brooks has made the announcement that he'll make his announcement on the 15th of March coming up. It's basically a 2-man race between Indiana and Kentucky for that one.
Yeah, it certainly seems that way. I know some people believe Michigan State's still in the hunt, but he never went up there for an official visit, and in fact, they canceled his official visit. So to me, that always spoke volumes about where that was going. So I agree. My sense and everything I've heard and read is that it is down to a 2-horse race, and it seems like fates of programs are on the line with that one. That's clearly overstating it, but anytime it comes down to Indiana and Kentucky, and you got a new coaching staff like we have, and you're trying to change the direction of a program, battling Kentucky for a 5-star that's in your own backyard is a very significant moment. So that's going to obviously be a huge announcement that everybody has their eyes on. I did confirm with someone in the Brooks family that announcement is going to be open to the public in Fort Wayne. So conclude what you will about that in terms of whether or not it has any bearing on which way he might be leaning, if he's decided at all. I don't place as much significance on it as I did with the Romeo Langford announcement, just because it's, even though this is a high-profile recruitment with Brooks, it's not anywhere near that high profile, and it's not going to be an announcement in front of thousands upon thousands of people. It's going to be more at a church with friends and family, and so, I still think it would be odd and kind of striking to invite the public in the state of Indiana and then announce that you're going to Kentucky, but he's certainly entitled to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's certainly going to leave people open to interpretation, but it's it's a completely different animal than when Romeo announced. I mean, for one thing, Romeo was right on the border of the state of Kentucky in New Albany, right there with a ton of Kentucky media in attendance, but that was not expected to go in any other direction. Like you said, there was no way that he was going to make that kind of a big public announcement with thousands of people there, but that's not going to be the case for Keon. I'm sure he'll have friends and family there, like I said, but it's not going to be a 2,000 or 3,000 people in attendance there, all of which 99% of which are Indiana fans. But I still think Indiana gets Keon Brooks. I think they're going to have a great recruit class next year. I think they're going to land Keon. That gives them Trace Jackson and Armand Franklin. I think they also get Harlan Beverly. I think they're going to bring in a nice 4-man class. They're going to have back-to-back top 10 classes. My prediction.
I love where your confidence is at right now. I'm the least confident I've been on Brooks since going back to November. I mean, I feel like it's pretty much a coin toss at this point, but if you put a gun to my head, I would say Indiana, but I don't have anything specific to base that on. I always thought, based on the things that he had said over the course of the last year, that he was leaning Indiana, and I still hope that's the case, but I think Kentucky definitely made traction in the last month or so, and that's understandable. I mean, I get it. Indiana, Indiana, what they're selling is more difficult right now. There's no doubt about it. They've got to get you to believe that they're things are changing there, whereas Kentucky has a more than a decade track record with Calipari. But at the same time, Kentucky has so many wings in their class, and they're still recruiting others that you have to know that you're going to be fighting for playing time.
You got it, Mike. Appreciate you, Mike Schumann from Daily Hoosier. Appreciate you joining us. We'll talk to you again next week, brother. That's going to pretty much wrap it up for us today. We had Chronic Hoosier on with us. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll talk a little bit about spring football. We'll hear more from Archie Miller and the crew. For Justin, this is Jim Coyle, and I will see you on the radio.